Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Um, Let me just make sure everything is set here real quick to public on Facebook. Perfect. Nice. All right. Let's have a discussion. Um, we are in chapter 4. However, um, your guys' best friend ever, had a couple of questions for me. We're talking about Philip, of course. Um, and on one of my videos called If God Can't Do It, Then You Try, this was his question. Do you profess or deny that God is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent? Also, could you please provide specific references in the Bible where God is proclaimed to possess these three very important attributes? And I responded, I said, I sure can. Tune in tomorrow. You see, what I did there was answer his question. I said, I can. He asked me if I could, and I did say I can, and I told him I'd do it tomorrow. To which he says, I am waiting. You are always very insistent that I answer you immediately. So can you maybe try to practice what you expect from others, such as myself? And I said, I'm pretty sure I answered you by telling you when I was going to get to your question. Unlike you, which never responded until pressed, we are not the same. So I'm going to answer Philip's question today because it's more than just saying, oh, this is what it. So I want to make sure that we get um, the definition. Okay, first, uh, omnipotent, having unlimited power, universal power. Omniscient, having total knowledge, and omnipresent, being present everywhere. So, to his question about does the Bible, speak of God having these characteristics? So, let's start with the um, omnipotent portion of God, and we'll go straight to Genesis for that for that one. I'm pretty sure he said he read the book. Um, I find it weird that he read the book, but did not catch any of these attributes from the the book. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm not the most coherent when it comes to the book. But in the very first book of the Bible, this is what it says: in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. I'm pretty sure that in and of itself tells you right off the bat that he is unlimited and has universal power because he created the universe. I don't know. My goodness. Look, look. I don't mean to laugh, but at the same time, come on, people. You say you read the book. You said this. You told us yesterday in the chat. Hang on one second. Let me adjust my chair. That you've read the whole book front to back multiple times with knowledge and understanding. Your words, with understanding. The very first line in the book you say you read tells you right off the top that he is omnipotent. Anyhow, I just look, I just don't understand it. Anyway, omniscient. If we go to Isaiah chapter 46, verse 10, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. He knows the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end. That is all knowledge, total knowledge. Pretty sure it's in the book you say you read. Not quite sure how you missed that one. But hey, all understanding. And number 3, omnipresent. Sometimes it's painstaking, but let's go to omnipresent, shall we? And so let's find out where in the book, where possibly in the book could it say that he is everywhere? Where could that say that? Oh, I know where to go. I know exactly where to go. We'll go to Psalms. Psalms 139 from verse 7. Where can I go from your spirit? If I flee from you, where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to the heavens, you're there. Bed in hell, you're there. Wings in the morning, uttermost part of the sea, even there your hand shall guide me. Darkness, light like to you. The darkness can't hide. It shines like day. Both dark and light are the same to you. So, omnipresent, all 3. And those are just instances once. It is littered throughout the book that you say you read. So when I told you that you were not a Christian, you were a knowledge seeker, and even in your knowledge seeking, you did not gain knowledge, I was 100% right. You never read the book to encounter God. You read the book to prove something right or wrong. You never read the book and encountered God. You read the book because somebody else told you ought to do that because you're a Christian. You were never a Christian. You do not have any reverence for God. And because you have no reverence for God, it proves that you never had reverence for God because you don't lose it. You are now, and has always been, a non-believer, a sinner. Plain and simple. Plain and simple as I could make it. You have never, ever, 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 Philip, been a Christian. You've been a churchgoer, an attender of a congregation of people, a building bench warmer, a book reader. You never been no Christian. Don't lie to yourself and people. You're a liar. I'll give you that. And you have no truth when you speak. You have no understanding. You have no idea what the book says, but you say you read it. So that makes you a liar. So any conversation I would need to have with you is going to be disingenuous because you don't actually do what you say you've done. I'm not going to be kind to you because you just lied. You lied on God of all people. You lied on God. There's a line. Lie on me, lie on people. That's, common. But God? Nah. Mm-mm. No, fam. So you got your answer. And this is why I did not address it in the comment section, because I wanted to make sure I fleshed this out and say what I had to say. Now, remember, you're coming to me, and I told you when I would answer your question, unlike when I talked to you yesterday in the chat section, and I asked you to answer a question. You could have easily said, hold on, I'm formulating an answer. You never did that. In fact, it took you forever to even get to a response. And when you did do your first response, you never answered the question. You came with something else, and then you answered the question. You're disingenuous. You're disingenuous. And if you can park that, we can get somewhere. I still care for your soul, but I can't care for it more than you do. So just want to make that clear to everybody that I did indeed answer his questions. And here we are. His questions are answered. He can no longer say he did not have an answer to the question, and he cannot say it didn't say in the book that God was omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. It says all 3 in 3 different locations, and that's just 3. There are multitudes more where it speaks about his all 3 characteristics of being everywhere, knowing everything, and having all power. Don't come to me with this nonsense, bro. It's not going to work out well for you. Look, I understand that you probably encountered some people before that don't stand on what they say. That ain't here. That's not here. When I tell people there is zero, and I mean, when I said zero chance of you bringing anything to me in this book that either I don't know about or that God said I wouldn't know about. And I leave it to him. There is zero you can bring to me. Nothing. Even to the point where you ask me a question, why would God allow the devil to do what he did in the garden? Because he's God and he can allow whatever he wants to allow because it's his world. The answer is right there. I'm not questioning what God does. That's not my role. You see, people, mankind wants to question God because they love to think they're better than God. And if you think you're better than God, you shouldn't need to question him. You're better. And if you're so much better, fix the world. But you won't fix the world because you're not better and you can't do anything about it. You're all losers. All of you. Everybody who dogs God are losers. Because if God doesn't exist, then you're trash humans and you have allowed everything evil in this world. It's on you. If it's God doesn't exist, then it's on you. Then mankind is the most vile thing to ever grace this earth. You're the ones that created abuse to children. God doesn't exist. Then you should stop it. But you don't stop it because internally you kind of love it, which is why you reject God. You reject God because he does not like that. You want to blame him for something you implemented. You did this. Y'all did it. Y'all keep it alive. But want to blame God? Miss me with that nonsense. Miss me with that nonsense. You're all trash human beings. I said it's in the book and you said you read it. Why would you need to ask me if it's in there? Huh? Why would you need to ask me if it's in there if you know it's in there? Why would you need to ask me that, Philip? Huh? Yeah, that's what I thought. I'll read to exactly what you asked me, since you want to know what you asked. Also, could you please provide specific references in the Bible where God is proclaimed to possess these three very important attributes? Do you profess or deny that God is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent? That was your question. Why would you need to ask me that? And if he is, and you say you know he was because you say you read the book, then that negates your entire diatribe yesterday about God. Remember what you said about him? He makes mistakes? Then you don't believe it. Perfect. Then why are you reading the book? You see, you contradict yourself at every turn because you're a confused human being. Stay confused. Stay confused, Philip. Stay confused. Stay confused. We are done having a conversation. We are no longer having a back and forth. We are no longer having a back and forth. Any more questions you have, Philip, take it up with God, not me. You want to have a conversation with somebody? Talk to him. I have nothing more to say to you. I don't want to have anything more to say to you. I have nothing more to offer you. You have no longer any interest in listening. So go talk to God, not me. I ain't answering no more of your questions. I have no desire to. Because you're deaf. And it's on purpose. So stay deaf. Until he opens your ears, stay deaf. I have no desire to try and puncture your ears with anything to make you hear. Plain and simple. Do not come with any more questions on my platform. I don't want to hear your questions. And even if you do, I'm ignoring it straight off the top. Not answering no more questions. You want your answers, either read the book or go talk to God. Okay? Perfect. Move along now. Now we can get back into Galatians chapter 4. I've done my job by answering your questions beforehand, but no longer. We're done. I want to make sure people understand that. I'm done. Nah, let him be. I'm not blocking him. That'll be arsenal for his fire and fodder for his cannon. I'm not giving him that. Let him chat all he wants or leave. He has the right to leave or stay. But if he stays, I'm not answering his questions. And if he leaves, good riddance. I'm dead serious. But I'm not blocking him. I'm not blocking him. Yeah, I do. So why are you still here? Why would you want to come listen to an angry guy? Okay. Galatians chapter 4. Now, I say that the heir, as long as he's a child, does not differ at all from a slave, though he is master of all, but is under guardians and stewards until the time appointed by the Father. Even so, we, when we were children, were in bondage under the elements of the world. But when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who were under the law, that we might receive the adoption as sons. And because you are sons, God has sent forth his Spirit into his Son, into your hearts, crying out, Abba, Father. Therefore, you are no longer a slave, but a son. And if a son, then an heir of God through Christ. Now, we have heard multiple people speak about this. I'm a son of God, and therefore I have all the attributes of God, leaning to the statements of them being in kind God. Please remember the one element that they all seem to want to negate in order to become the Son, which is what? Death of self and the law. You then cannot be a God. And even in this verse, it tells you exactly who you have become an heir through. It is not of your own merit. It is not by your own name. It is through Christ. Through Christ. It is through Christ. Everybody that I've seen so far preaching this, we are God's gospel, or somehow we are this, we are nothing. We are nothing without the covering of Christ. We are nothing. Our entry into the kingdom demands our relinquishing of our identity. The mere fact that you're coming into this kingdom requires, right off the rip, your death. No baggage, death. Pride and all that crap, you're dead. You offer nothing. You bring nothing. And anything that you do within the kingdom is given to you from the one who you came through. But we like to have, like I said before, tags. We like to have reasons. We like to have this. We want to have anything that points back to us. We want the credit. We want all of the credit. Because we like us way more than we actually like God. And it comes back to a lot of things. When we look at God, we look at God as somehow insufficient. He's insufficient. And the instant we do that, we can at least open the door to anything else, us. And it works for many, because here's what happens. The reason it works for many is that they can look at themselves in some sort of a measurable, tangible way as being worthy. So here's the question: are we worthy, or are we worthy because of? And where is the worth placed? Is it on us, in us, or because of someone else that we have entered into? It's like going into a house. There are two. One, a house is finished, done, built, roof, power, furniture, everything. And you go into the house and you say, "Look at my house. Look at that's my fridge over there, and that's look at this my floor here." And but you didn't do anything. You just walked in as though you built something. Yet that, you didn't. You were invited into a home, given that home after everything was done. People think they're in that house, but you're not, because the entry requirements for that house is this: if you're coming into my house, you must accept the fact that nothing in here you got on your own merit, one, and two, you cannot say is yours. Why? But we love it. We love to have credit. We love the credit. The credit is where we get our special feeling from. We don't like being called nothing. We don't like understanding what our status is, because you have to come to that realization that you are nothing in the state you are. You take on the person who is everything. You still don't get credit for this. You just take on the credit yourself. He is now looked at you as your credit. When you step before God, he's not seeing you, he's seeing his son. It says so. People want to step before Christ and they want to be seen. You heard that before? He sees me. Does he? No. It tells you specifically that he's not supposed to see you. You're supposed to be gone. He's, he's supposed to see his son. You're supposed to see his son. Question. I'm assuming the you is supposed to be an I, not a you. I'm going to assume that. I want to understand, but I don't understand the house because the person work and bring money for the house to get it right. Can you give? No, I'm not going to give a different example. It's not your house. You didn't give any money to get the house. I never said that you contributed anything at all to the house. It's not your house. You were simply given a house to move into, fully done, furnished. Everything is there and done. You didn't contribute jack to the house. But many people want to look at the house and say, "Ha, I contributed." They can't tell you what they contributed to the house, but they want credit for something about God's house. You didn't do anything to build, buy, nothing. You didn't purchase paint, nails, carpet, nothing. No sweat, no blood, no tears, nothing. Every bit of that house was purchased by the blood and hard work, and all of it through Christ. None of it was yours. So you cannot go to this house expecting some sort of credit for something you're doing when you did nothing. It is not your house. It belongs to God. But the house has every single quirk and masterpiece markings of Christ. And when God sees it, He's seeing his son's handiwork, not yours. He sees you in the house and he's recognizing you because of the location, but it's not your house. And you have to remind yourself that this is not yours. You are given a certain amount of heirship over this house, but it is not because of who you are, what you've done, what you've offered. It is all about the person that built this house and has allowed you to stay in it. But too many times Christians don't want to do that. They want to have all of the credit, even partial credit, for something that's happening within the confines of the house. Think of it this way. You don't even know what the electrical system is like, right? So if something goes wrong, you don't know. No, you have no idea. You don't know how to fix it. You have to go to somebody else to fix it. Who better to fix it than the architect? And when the architect's ready to come fix the house and tell you, hey, I got an electrician, I'm bringing an electrician. Electrician goes fix the problem. Sink goes out, tell the architect. Plumber, fix that. You don't touch it. He has all authority to fix what needs to be fixing. Keep your hands off of it. But then, indeed, when you did not know God, you served those which by nature are not God's. But now, after you have known God, or rather are known by God, how is it that you turn again to the weak and beggarly elements to which you desire again to be in bondage? You observe days and months and seasons and years. I'm afraid for you, lest I have labored for you in vain. Brethren, I urge you to become like me. And what he means by that, he'll tell you, for I became like you. You have not injured me at all. You know that because of physical infirmity, I preached the gospel to you at first. And my trial, which was in my flesh, you did not despise or reject, but you received me as an angel of God, even as Jesus Christ. Now, he doesn't mean that you revered him as Christ, but you accepted him readily because of who he represented. What then was the blessing you enjoyed? For I bear witness that, if possible, you would have plucked out of your own eyes and given them to me. Have I therefore become your enemy because I tell the truth? They zealously court you, but for no good. Yes, they want to exclude you that you may be zealous for them. But is it good to be zealous in the good things always, and not only when I am present with you? My little children, for whom I labor in birth again until Christ is formed in you, I would like to be present with you now and to change my tone, for I have doubts about you. You want to know what rebuke looks like? That would be it right there. Do you realize how direct Paul is? He does not pull punches. He does not try to play softball. He goes straight to the heart of the matter, and he does not care whether or not they hurt. Because here's what has to happen. Reality has to be brought to the table. That there has to be, at what we call today, a come to Jesus moment. That was it right there. If I were there in person, you could not only hear what I have to say, but you would see that I really do care about what's happening. But I'm not there, so I have to be extra with you. And I have to be frank. Why is it that you revere me when I'm there, but you don't revere me when I'm not? And I'm trying to tell you the exact same things I would have told you while I was right there with you. That you've been deluded, you've been dragged away, and you've allowed it. What happened? You were so happy to help me out even when I was sick. I came to talk to you while I was sick, and you were so gung-ho about it. You would have plucked your own eyes to help me if you could. But all of a sudden now, what happened? Where did that zeal go? Where does zeal go? And I have to be this way with you. Because if I'm not, I can't say I care. I can't say I care for your soul if I'm not going to be frank with you. If I'm not going to be able to be deadly honest with you, I cannot call myself one, your friend, or I can't say that I care. I can't if I can't be blunt. He was the exact same way with Peter. Tell me, you who desire to be under law, do you not hear the law? For it was written that Abraham had two sons, the one by a bondwoman, the other by a free woman. But who was the bondwoman? Who was of the bondwoman was born according to the flesh, and he who was of the free woman through promise. Which things are symbolic? For these are the two covenants, the one from Mount Sinai, which gives birth to bondage, which is Hagar. For this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia and corresponds to Jerusalem, which is now, and is in bondage with her children. But the Jerusalem above is free, which is the mother of us all. For it is written, Rejoice, O barren, you who do not bear, break forth and shout, you who are not in labor, for the desolate has come many more children than she who has a husband. Now we, brethren, as Isaac was, are children of promise. But as he who was born according to the flesh then persecuted him who was born according to the Spirit, even so it is now. Nevertheless, what does the scripture say? Cast out the bondwoman and her son, for the son of the bondwoman shall not be their heir with the son of the free woman. So then, brethren, we are not children of the bondwoman, but of the free. See, when Abraham got that promise, right? And he was impatient with the promise. He stepped out to try and do things himself. Did not work out at all. The promise that was given to Abraham wasn't even because that there was something specially special. God made a promise to Abraham because he knew what? The end from the beginning. He knew what his plan was. He made us children of a promise. I'm going to say this to you, Philip. Say one more stupid thing about God, and I will block you. And this is the one. I will not block you for your dumb questions that you ask. I won't even answer your question. But say one more stupid thing about God, and I'm blocking you. Say one more stupid thing, one more ignorant, out of place thing about God, and I will block you permanently from anything I do on this platform. And whatever happens to your soul, happens to your soul. Say one more ignorant thing about God. Say it. If you want your soul damned, have fun doing that on your own. I'm going to let you do it. Go for it. But say one more stupid across the fence thing and you're gone. I don't care how much pain you're in. I don't care. Suffer. Because apparently you want it. Keep cursing God. Go for it. Do it. I'm going to block you. Say something stupid again. Say one more ignorant thing. Ask your asinine questions all day long. I'll ignore that. Say one more stupid thing about God. I'm going to slap you across the fence. Try me. call me angry all you want. Say I'm angry. That good. I am angry. I am very, very angry. Righteously. The Galatians were living as though they had no promise, even though while Paul was with them, they behaved differently. They believed differently. They followed differently. When he was away, all of a sudden now they've changed. They've changed. And Paul did not hesitate to plant them in their place right away. Binary, it wasn't a question. It was a statement about God. And as everybody knows on this platform, that's the one thing I do not tolerate. I can put up with stupid questions all day long. I can put up with ridiculous content about myself. No problem. And I've told people this before, but you come crossways about God, we have a whole different problem. Massive problem. He said specifically, you don't defend me before men, I can't before God. Don't proclaim me before men, I can't before God. I'm not playing that game here. I'm just not playing that game. You want to die stupid, die stupid. You want to die lost, die lost. Do it on your own dime. Don't you come over here blaspheming. I ain't playing that game with nobody. Nobody. I'm not playing that game. Besides which, I don't need to forgive you. That's God's job, not mine. And you're not crossing me, you're crossing God. But I will defend his name to the death. The same way Paul was to the Galatians, where he did not hold a punch. I'm not holding punches for no one. This is why I am the way I am. There are multiple examples of men in the Bible, especially the ones we come forward with. We talk about all the time. They never pulled punches. Never. Never pulled punches. Never. But somehow we have become a culture in the Christian faith of placid, weak, soft, you have to be nice. And even in that nice, you lie to people about where they are. Because you make it so inconsequential, their state. You make it their state so inconsequential when it is a massive problem before God. Our sin is not inconsequential. Our state that we were in before finding Christ was not inconsequential. It was so consequential that he gave up his son because it was that consequential. He gave up his son because it was that consequential. Who are we? Who are we to make it less? You're not that bad. You just need to stop a few things. That wasn't about God, right? Yeah, because we're stupid. The whole conversation is about God, and you say one few signs that someone is completely evil, when just yesterday, that's exactly what you called God. Weirdo. Absolute weirdo. Hmm. I'm gonna say this to you people, okay? And I want to make sure I'm clear on this. I don't want no equivocations on this. I get that there are people in this world who have been through hellacious things. The reason I don't give anybody like that a pass is because there have been tons of people who have been through hellacious things and still found God. You know what the difference is between someone who have been through hellacious things and found God and someone who's been through hellacious things and didn't find God? Can anyone possibly figure out what the difference is between those two? Why it is that somebody could be, give an example, a female raped at infancy all through the time that they're in high school till they're 18, leaves home, they're broken, they find multiple partners who do the exact same thing to them. They live till about 25, and then they get completely beaten, sent to the hospital, and they recover, and then they get beaten again and sent it out, and they keep going in, and they go into drugs, and then they recover from drugs, they go into alcohol. And by the time they're 45, they're absolutely ran through. Multiple people have been in that phase. And there are some that get to the bottom and find God, and there are some that get to the bottom and curse God. What's the difference between the two of them? Some people get to the bottom and will continue to blame. Some will get to the bottom and realize the only way out is relinquishing. And that's a matter of the heart. Stubbornness is also an after effect of abuse. You find a way to cope and you become stubborn, you become mule headed, and you don't want to listen to anybody. Sometimes you'll ignore signs that God's putting in front of you. Now, ignoring them doesn't mean that you don't see them. Ignoring them does not mean you don't see them. You see them, you just ignore it. Others see it. And the question they'll ask is, why is he continuing to reach out to me when I'm like this? Others will say, I don't care. Don't reach out to me. I don't need none of that stuff. I don't need you. Where were you when this happened and that happened and that happened? That's where they'll go to. They will continually live in that past. Meanwhile, the person who really is at rock bottom, here's the real truth. Most of those people have not actually gotten to rock bottom. They're almost there, but they're not there yet. The ones who really hit the bottom and there's nowhere else to go down, they have to look up. They have to look up. That's the difference between people who find God and don't. You get to the end of yourself. You realize something about you that no one could tell you, that no one else can reveal to you. You find this out for yourself. And the only reason I can say that is because I have gotten to the very bottom. I got to the bottom. I self-loathed. I hated people. I hated God. I blamed him for everything that happened bad in my life. Until I got so far down that I had to ask him, why do you still love me? And the only answer I got was, because I am love. Pretty point blank. I had to relearn what love was. See, in my world, there was two versions of love. Love as an expression of what I wanted, so they gave it to me. Or love as an allowance of what they allowed me to do. That was love. See, true love was when my father would tell me no. True love would be when my father would see something, knowing full well it was not to my benefit, but it's something I wanted. And he could tell me right off the top, no, son. And he also knew I was not in a location mentally, emotionally to even handle the why of the no. It's just no. It's just no. And all of these examples he kept bringing back. As soon as I asked him why, he brought all of it back. All these examples. The first time he brought some information to my mind and showed me some stuff about who he was and how he operated. And this built the foundation for why I cannot turn my back on him, is like this. I was sitting alone, and I was in this space where I was getting mad again because of my dad's death. And I was livid. I was livid because I'm here and I cannot share anything with my dad. Now, mind you, it's not that I didn't love mom. I love my mom. But I was a fan of my pops. Like we were. So I got mad. I was livid with God as to why he would allow my father to pass. And instantaneously, this timeline just dropped. It's almost like I was taken above my life and shown this timeline of events. And the timeline of events was when he died, there was some things set in motion for us to have to move. Now, in my mind, I'm moving, but I'm leaving what I thought was familiar to something brand new. Like, what the? So that was even more anger, right? So I'm seeing it and I'm remembering how angry I was. But if my dad hadn't died, we wouldn't have moved. Okay, fine. So in our moving, fast forward from some years, we encounter an individual who helped me and my sister go to college. That was never part of the plan as a growing up. You may go to some college in the Caribbean, but there was no plan to get any further education, never. But this individual never went to the island I was from. The place he had ties to was the island we moved to. So we moved, encountered this man. This man helped us get through college, my sister and I. And every year, this man sent us home, and every Christmas, he brought us to his house in Florida. And he just kept dropping all these things that has positively happened to me that would never have happened if dad stayed alive. Now, I'm not saying God killed my father, but I'm saying that these things were allowed in order for certain things to take place. And the timeline just kept going till now. You see, I could not have a testimony about what loss would be like had I not lost. I wouldn't know what the testimony was about hating God had I not gotten to that place. I wouldn't know how to talk to somebody who's been at the very stinking bottom and had to look up if I had not been there myself. I wouldn't have known what it's like to encounter demons and still encountered God if I had not been through what I had been through in my entire timeline of life, all stemming from the one thing I blamed him for, which was the loss of my father. So when people ask me why you won't, why don't you doubt? It's because I've already done my share of doubting. I've done my share of running. I've done all of it already, and there's no need to do it anymore. I've had my share of pain. I've had my share of anger. I've had my share of loss. In that time, I've lost 2 brothers, a couple of aunts, a couple of uncles, tons of cousins. I fully understand loss. Multiple friends. The only person that has been there the 100% of the time, whether I acknowledged him or not, was God. He never encroached. He never forced. He never coerced. He was just there. Just there. Which is why I will not stand by while people speak ill of him. Do that in your own time, to yourself, to him. I did it. But I won't allow it while I know better. Nah. Mistakes. I was a walking mistake. I spent my whole life pulling off mistake after mistake after mistake. Many were not mistakes, they were intentional, purposeful actions. Purposeful. So when people say I'm deluded, feel free to call me deluded. You want to tell me I'm blinded by religion? Say what you want. Don't, just like I said, say what you want about me all you want. Not gonna affect me. I know where I've been, I know what I've been through, and I know where I got out from. But I will be dead before I allow anybody to speak ill about the one person that has never, ever, ever, ever let me down. I will be a dead man before that happens. You will not speak ill of God in front of me. I will Peter you before that happens. And I will let him tally that up before, after, but I'm not letting that happen. I want to make sure people understand that before coming to this platform and expecting you can just spout whatever you want. Like I said, about me, no problem. But God, we going to have some words. We are going to have some words. Find somebody else to mess with. We're not playing that game here. The Galatians forgot all that, and they allowed people to drag them away from the faith that they first embraced. I'll cut your ear off. That's what I mean by Peter. I'll wrestle, I'll fight. I will drag my sword out of its sheath and I will slice you. That's the level to which I will defend him. Clear now? I'll Peter you. I'm not playing that game with nobody. The one person I will defend with every fiber of my being will be God. And to people who don't love him, don't love him. Don't embrace him. Don't talk to him. Don't believe him. Don't trust him. Don't. That's between you and him. But if I'm around and you decide to spout some ill-conceived notion about him, I will say something. I will say something. And I will say it adamantly. I will say it adamantly. Yeah, it's acceptable. So much for your understanding, huh, Phil? You keep proving every time you open that hole in your face that you read the book as a book. No different than a blooming encyclopedia in your hands. So much for understanding. You read that book with no understanding whatsoever. You still have none. You lack every bit of understanding. You possess the mind of a gnat when reading that book. But it's expected when you read it with the mind of a man. But I will continue to stand by what I said. I will adamantly defend his name and his character to anyone trying to malign it. You want to find someone docile? Go to kindergarten. That ain't here. That's not here. I will ask you guys to not be like the Galatians and forget. Don't forget. He reminds them in chapter 5, though. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty by which Christ has made us free, and do not be entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Indeed, I, Paul, say to you that if you become circumcised, Christ will profit you nothing. If you turn one more time to the things of the law, expecting to earn some sort of semblance of faith, salvation, merit, Christ died in vain. And I testify again to every man who becomes circumcised that he is a debtor to keep the whole law. You have become estranged from Christ, who you attempt to be justified by law. For you have fallen from grace. Please don't be counted with that. Don't be counted with that. So what? You don't believe in Jesus anyway, so what do you care? You don't know him. What do you care? He's a lie anyway. He's a mistake, so what do you care? Jesus is inconsequential in your life. Why are you quoting him to me? You don't live by his standards. What do you care? How you going to quote Jesus to me when you have no concept of who he is? How you going to quote anything about God when you don't even like the man? Huh? What kind of nonsensical stupidity is that? You clowns are amazing to me. You don't believe in God. You don't want to follow God, but you're quick to quote God to people who do follow him. I don't got to listen to you. You got no legs to stand on, you dummy. You're a heathen. Why should I listen to you? You have no loyalty to God. You don't care about God. You think he makes mistakes. He's worthless. He's evil. He's conniving. He'll allow people to kill each other. Why should I care what you think about him? You don't follow him. How would you know what a hypocrite looks like? Why would your words matter about what you think? Your words are pointless, worthless, trash. Your opinions don't matter. Quoting who God is and who Jesus is himself. And what do you know? What do you know? All that information in your head and you still ignore him, which makes you what? You're quick to quote him to me about how I should be and how I shouldn't be, but you don't follow him. He's nothing to you, but you're quick to talk to him about me? Y'all are weird. Y'all are absolutely weird. You have no desire to follow him. None. You've called him a poor father, a horrible person for allowing Abraham to even think about sacrificing his son. You call what he gave up absolute bloodshed and he requires blood. Why would anybody require blood? But then want to turn around and quote Jesus to me? How ignorant can you be? How stupid can you be? How moronic can you be? How ignorant? How two-faced? How hypocritical? But you suffer. You've been through so much. Stay there. Suffer more because you're not at the bottom yet. Suffer more. And continue to suffer the longer you denounce him and call him names. Suffer. Enjoy your suffering. Bring on more suffering so you can get to the bottom and finally acknowledge who he is. Suffer more. More suffering come to you, more pain, more languish, more angst. The harder it falls, the quicker you'll fall to your knees. You want to quote Jesus to me when you're not even following the person you're trying to quote to me as such a great person. If he's such a great person, give him time. You won't give him time. This is the world, people. This is the world. You want to know why you ought to be adamant about things? This is why. They will come to you and speak some of the most vile stuff about your Lord and Savior, and we will just kind of let it brush off. No. You do realize what Jesus did for you, right? You do realize the kind of punishment he endured. You do realize he went through that willingly while you were a sinner. And you're not going to have the spine to stand up? Well, I got the spine, and I have no desire to care about anybody's feelings when I do. Your feelings mean nothing to me. I don't care how you feel. Don't care how you feel, especially when your feelings attack the God that saved me from hell. Stuff your feelings. Stuff them. Especially for one that says you've been a Christian. To turn around and speak this ill about him, you're trash. You never knew him, and you don't want to know him. You have no desire to know him, not yet. You have no idea what the bottom looks like yet. No clue what the bottom looks like yet. But trust and believe me, when you hit it, when you hit it, you're going to understand what it means. You're going to understand what the bottom looks like, and you're going to understand that the only place you can look is up. Unfortunately for many, you'll be looking up at the throne at the end of your life, and it'll be too late for you then. You'll still get the memo, but it'll be too late. People will try to warn you about it. They try to do it, but they won't listen. Don't listen. Don't listen. But you ain't never going to say that you were never told. You can say you ignored. Can't wait for you to get to the bottom, though. Because once you hit that bottom and you flat on your face and you can't get up, then you'll realize all that pain I thought I felt before, I had no clue what it could be like. The only person that will help you then is the only person you're going to turn to. And you'll have no choice by then. Let's just hope you hit rock bottom before you hit the bottom of that grave. Some people never hit that bottom. They keep depending on self. Keep depending on yourself, Philip. Have fun doing that. How has that worked out for you so far? Huh? Still hurting? Yeah, real good job you're doing for yourself there, Philip. You're so involved in yourself that you can't even soothe yourself, huh? Yeah, yourself is doing real good for you right now. Yourself is doing amazing work for you. Look at how well you're doing on your own. Look how well you're doing on your own. Amazing, huh? You're doing so well without God. Yeah. You're doing amazing, Philip. Really well without God. Your life is a trophy life, isn't it, without God? You can't think of a better way to live than without God. You can't think of a better life than what you have now without God, can you? You just cannot wait to leave this platform and go through the rest of your life just thinking, man, I hate God. I'm glad that I never have anything more to do with him. He doesn't exist. And your life is just going well, isn't it? Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember now the things you've said in comment sections throughout my videos about how angry you are and how hateful you are to things and how broken you are. You seem to be a living dichotomy, though. Well, stay in your dichotomy until you hit rock bottom. 90% of us in this room have hit rock bottom and can only look one location. And when we look that location, we started our way up. For those of you out there who have ears to hear, if you are in a place where you've tried everything, and even you might be hating God right now too, and people have told you that God loves you, here's a question I want you to go ask God. Why, even though I hate you, do you love me? Why, even though I hate you, do you love me? Just ask him and wait. For those of you who have ears to hear, I'm not talking to the clown Philip. I'm not talking to him. He's doing what he got to do. Trust me, there's lots more coming. So you can hang around for it or you can leave, but I'm going to keep calling your names. Yes, I am. Because you're coming here to represent your father, the devil, the father of lies. So enjoy me talking to you like I would your dad. Enjoy me talking to you like I would your father. Get used to it. Remember, you spoke ill about mine. Allow me to do the same for you. Allow me to do for you what you've done for me. Speak ill about my father, I shall speak ill about yours. So don't seek God. Nah, the devil doesn't. The devil wouldn't seek God. The devil would think that God make mistakes. The devil would think that God is a cruel and evil person for asking what he did of Abraham. The devil would say that God is cruel for sending his son. That would exactly be what the devil would say. So yes, this is your father. And I'll speak to you exactly like I would your dad. Plain, straightforward, plain talk, bad manners. You represent who I despise, and I will speak to you accordingly. Do I hate you, Philip? Nah. I specifically said, I hope you hit rock bottom soon so you can find your way up. If I hated you, I wouldn't wish that on you. But I will not stand idly by while you speak ill about my father. I'll crush you. And if in crushing you, you obviously haven't hit rock bottom, or it was really spongy because you're on your way back down. You said it yourself. Dummy. Maybe you could, maybe don't admit that you're heading on your way back down to the bottom if you say you hit rock bottom. You must like it there if you're heading back. You must really like the bottom if you're going back down there. Is there something intriguing about the bottom that you like so much? You just love rock bottom that you got to go back for another visit? You love the bottom that much you got to go back? All right. Well, have fun on the trip, buddy. Have fun on the trip. But I don't think you've actually been to rock bottom yet. I can guarantee you that you ain't seen rock bottom yet. When you finally hit it, you're gonna be like, I ain't never been here before. I ain't never been here before. This is way worse than I thought. It's coming. We all get there. We all get there. I'll take a poll. How many of you in the audience on your way to where you are now in Christ have hit rock bottom before that happened? Just say I if you've been one of those. I'll go first. I. Five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep, 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 yep. To the lost out there who think that my anger is misplaced, wait. Just wait. But look, when you realize who you're serving, when it really plants in, you'll understand why I am the way I am. You will understand fully. You'll get it. Trust me, you'll get it. When you've gotten to the point where thrice you try to end your life, you'll get it. You'll get it. When you realize that he's been pulling you back constantly, and then he finally allowed you to, yeah, you'll understand. It'll be blatantly obvious. So I hope that those listening that may come to this platform, you may not make it this far, but if you're supposed to make it this far, you will. The God of this universe loved you enough to look beyond your faults and see your needs and set in front of you a way for him to become your all. And if you would just but take him up on his offer, I guarantee you, you will never, never regret that. You'll never regret it. You won't regret it. Like, there's nothing else I can be more sure of than that. You will not regret it. Um, tomorrow will be chapter 5. And I may do chapter 6 on Sunday. I might just do our Sunday session Sunday anyway. But it's Mother's Day, so I don't know if I will or not. Um, we don't have a Rumble event this Saturday, so it could possibly be Saturday that I do chapter 6. So I leave next week open. We'll see. I will, Debbie. Thank you. But I want to make sure I leave Sunday open for you fellas who have stuff that you're doing for mom or the wife. Um, you all handle that thing, cook, clean the house, whatever you gotta do. Finish that honeydew list. if she, if she asks you to put up that shelf like she did like last year, or fix something, then do it tomorrow, or better yet, do it this weekend so it'll be done by tomorrow, by Sunday. Start today so you have 2 days to work on it. Appreciate you guys. And I'm grateful that the object lesson showed up today in the form of Mr. Philip to show you exactly how rebellion can leave you. But I'm also glad it showed up so you can understand that standing up for God when people are speaking ill of him is what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to shy away. We're not supposed to cower. We're not supposed to be afraid. And sometimes the truth and love does not wear the face of a heart. Sometimes it's a sledgehammer, sometimes it's a sword, and sometimes it's fire. Very rarely is it a pillow. Very rarely. Scrolling at the bottom. Options. You know what they are. You know who to speak to. We'll catch you guys in tomorrow. Savage Patriots will be on. We'll talk then. And love you guys, mean it. Wisdom calls to you from the streets. So please, please, please find wisdom. Peace.
Hold tight the dreams, for if dreams die.